It's funny because I don't know what this was what was going on with this week and fan incidents
Yeah.
with athletes, but Westbrook wasn't the only one that had a run-in with fans. Former UFC lightweight and featherweight champion Conor McGregor had a situation on Monday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning in Florida. He's apparently in Florida celebrating his mother's birthday or something. I'm not sure exactly, but he's also still serving his suspension for his part in the brawl that ensued after he lost to Khabib Nurmagomedov earlier this year. So essentially what happened is the fan apparently wanted to take a picture of Conor McGregor, and I guess he did it without his permission or whatever. Maybe McGregor asked him not to take the picture. McGregor then goes over, takes the guy's phone. The phone falls on the ground. McGregor stomps on the phone, picks the phone up, and withheld it from the person. He gets arrested for strong arm robbery and criminal mischief, which are both felonies.
Mm-hmm.
He posts $12,500 bail, gets out later on that day, posts a little Instagram message addressing it. And now the guy whose phone it was has a civil suit. He's going to try to run it. He's going to try to see if he can get McGregor to pay for one of his kids' college. So, and I understand. I ain't even mad at him,
Right.
But so I'll go first about this, right?
You please do.
Conor McGregor has a self-control issue.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's really what it boils down to. People can say whatever they want to say about how it gets, annoying for fans and for people to take pictures of famous people. And sometimes you just don't feel like being bothered. I understand that. And I totally understand how that works. But every single, and I said this talking to Andre Ward. Andre Ward and I had a conversation on Twitter, and we were talking about something similar to this. And I told him, I said, every single job there is in the world has a downside.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone. There is no job in the world that you like everything about everything that you do. Yeah. There's something that comes with it that you're not going to like. And when you're famous and when you make all that money and everybody in the world knows you, part of that is going to be that you're going to be someplace sometime and somebody's going to want to talk to you, take a picture, record you in some sort of way that you don't feel like dealing with. You cannot get aggressive with them, take phones, snap. I don't care what goes on. This is what you cannot do. You especially can't do it less than a year after you attacked a bus, rendered some people injured, then even less time after you were involved in a brawl, after you nearly got your face squeezed off, and you're already suspended right now. Conor, first of all, has a self-control issue. Second of all, he thinks he's above everything. I mean, my man really should have been from LA in the 90s, and he should have been from Compton because he absolutely thinks he's above the law. I'm just trying to tell you, my man really thinks that he is above everything. And nobody is making him ever truly be accountable.
Oh, of course. The UFC,
for what he does. For what
the UFC is culpable in this because I think they are enablers to Conor McGregor's behavior. He just keeps getting more money and more popularity the more he does. But I think there's another thing about this that I would like to bring up, specifically when it comes to martial artists, but in this case, mixed martial artists. Mm-hmm. For a long time, when mixed martial arts was getting popular, there were a lot of pure martial artists who were really poo-pooing.
Yes.
They were poo-pooing the whole, Red Bull affliction shirt, neck tattoo aspect of this, right? The Absolutely. New metal hip hop culture that MMA, was embodying. Mm-hmm. And it was because they were saying when you learn martial arts, you're not just learning to beat people up. Like this is what every when you go to a real martial arts class, this is what you learn.
100%.
You're not learning how to fight. You're learning how to control yourself so that you don't have to fight. Part of it is when you become capable as a martial artist. And I did take martial arts for several years. I stopped when I was in my early 20s, but from about, I would say 9 years old to 22, I practiced consistently and I sparred a ton in high school. And it wasn't until I got into my early 20s that I realized it. Like once you become capable, you start to feel a responsibility of like, if I go into this differently, I'm not supposed to go in to a conflict with the same level of fight or flight that I would if I didn't spend all these years taking martial arts. That's like the whole point, is to gain a certain amount of self-discipline and self-control. Because as you're de-escalating a situation, you're like, hey, you don't want this to get worse than what it is. Let's all chill out. And I think it's an unfair stereotype to put onto MMA people, but it is an aspect of MMA culture. I met Randy Couture. He's an ultimate gentleman. That guy was like meeting Captain America. You hear some of the stuff like Robbie Lawler says, the guy is all class.
Yes.
We talked about Gustafsson. He has that kind of, you know what I'm saying? That mentality of a martial artist and stuff like that. Conor McGregor is the other side of it. He's what people accuse these guys of just being like cocaine, you know, Vegas culture. We're a family show over here, so we're not going to get too into it, but y'all know what we're talking about. You know, and making money, putting the prize in prize fighting. And Conor McGregor is in a lot of ways even more so than John Jones, at least in the current day, because John Jones has had some bad days. But today he is the representative for like the worst aspects of mixed martial arts, both in the cage and out of the cage, because he never fights anymore.
I 100% agree. And to add to that, I cover a Singapore-based martial arts promotion called One Championship. They're starting to gain some popularity now, a lot of popularity in North America. They just did the historic trade where they got Demetrius Johnson from the UFC and sent Ben Askren over to the UFC. They also signed Eddie Alvarez. They hired former UFC women's bantamweight champion Miesha Tate as a VP, and they also signed Sage Northcutt, right? And so they have of course, they have a bunch of martial arts stars from a variety of countries throughout Asia and in some in South America. Well, I've had multiple conversations with their CEO, Chatri Sitjatong, and this is one of the things that he talks about. Some of the exact same things that you just mentioned, Books, is about the reason why they in Asia, the term mixed martial arts is actually kind of like a dirty term. It's not something that's in a totally American term. Totally American. And when they hear it, they somewhat cringe. Now they like money, so just like everybody else. So they're accepting it a little bit more now as they attempt to break into the North American market. But traditionally, mixed martial arts as a term is something that they don't particularly embrace. And a lot of it has to do with some of those exact same ideals that you pointed out. That whole, you know, tatted up from the top of the head to the feet, looking and with this uber aggression outside of the cage. And
here's what people are doing when they approach it the wrong way. If let's just say hypothetically you go to a temple, right, where you're supposed to train and learn martial arts. There's scrolls that teach you to punch and to kick, and then there's scrolls that teach you to breathe and how to treat your fellow human and how to grow. And what some mixed martial artists do is they take the scrolls that teach you to punch and to kick and they walk out to school. And there was a time that these traditional martial arts weren't taught. And this is one of the reasons. There's xenophobia and politics that goes along with that in the ancient traditions. But one of the reasons is they were saying, you guys are just going to weaponize this and, you know, take all of the integrity out of it. And to learn martial arts, you have to learn the whole thing. You know, there's the Tai Chi where you learn about moving with the water and the wind. And there's the Tai Chi where you learn to use it as force and fire. You know what I'm saying? And you can't only take the scrolls about violence. You have to also take the scrolls about peace. when you study these things. And yeah, I'm glad one championship still has that mentality, because in a certain sense, those ancient ideas are right. If you guys are going to walk around snatching cell phones out of people's hands because you know they can't beat you, then we shouldn't be letting you learn martial arts, because it's a weapon, you know, and you're turning yourself into a weapon. And there comes responsibility with it. The same way that, you know, proper gun law should have you get a certain amount of training and be certain capable and responsibility so that you don't go around acting dumb and doing dumb things. Martial arts is the same version. It's just with your body. You know, and it does make you more dangerous, and you have to be responsible for that. So my thing with Conor McGregor is just, honestly, as a former martial artist, I just don't appreciate how crude that is. You know, like, that's disgusting, because that's bullying. And honestly, I really can't stand bullies. It's different than if, like, you know, somebody sees Conor McGregor and they think to themselves, you can't do nothing to me, so I'm going to come up into your face cursing. You know, hit that dude with a shari, you can call it a day. But if it's a situation where you're initiating the violence, that's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, and what actually kind of is blowing me is that the amount of support that McGregor is getting from other martial artists, other mixed martial artists. Michael Bisping says that the dude who was pressing charges it calls him, you know, an effing penis, basically. And then Israel Adesanya, who I'm going to be honest, by the day I become less of a fan of Israel Adesanya. Like, literally, Israel Adesanya is one of those dudes that if the less he talks, the better. Yeah. Because he's got this kind of a shtick to him. Like, he always wants to say something that is catchy. He always wants to deliver a promo. And he tries so hard at it, and he just ends up sounding stupid.
Because he's a nerd.
Yeah, he's really a nerd, and he's trying to be cool. And I'm like, dude, just kick people in the cage and just leave all of the other stuff out. Like,
Israel's young. Really, we gotta let him grow up. You know what I mean?
I mean,
he sounds like
he's not that young though.
That's true. I mean, he sounds like a kid.
Yeah, he really sounds like he's younger than he is, because he's 31.
Yeah,
and he sounds more like he's 20 or 19. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, like, so he was like, you know, if I walked up on site and saw John Jones snorting a picogram or whatever it was he was doing, then yeah, if I tried to take a picture of him, absolutely, then John Jones should hop up and throw an elbow at that guy. Like, dude, go take a nap.
Yeah, that was silly.
Go and take a nap. Like,
taking a picture is not violence. Slapping the camera out somebody's hand is violence.
But you know what's so funny is that this is not purely an MMA thing. I recall a similar situation happening with Rajon Rondo and a actual cameraman or a media member. A guy was standing like over down the hall from Rajon Rondo, and he's filming him. And I guess Rondo asked him not to film him. Now, they're in an NBA arena. Yeah. And he asked him not to film him. So the dude doesn't stop filming him. He keeps filming. Like, dude, look, whatever. He still's filming him. So Rondo says, whoever he's talking to, he tells the person to hold on. And you guys can probably find a video of this on YouTube. He walks over and says, man, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? That's the first problem. Because any grown man and starts off a sentence talking to me, tells me, what did I tell you? That's just not the right way to start the sentence. just not the way I think it should go. Like, you know, it more of, sir, could you please stop? Or, man, please, I really don't. Maybe if the sentence started off that way, maybe it'd be a little bit more.
You know, and I think there's a gray area here too, because we talked about everybody being part of the show. As a sports celebrity, there's your privacy and your personal space, but there's also the fact that you profit from people taking pictures of you and putting them on the internet. Like, even though it might happen at inconvenient times where you don't like it, and I can agree, hey, you know, let people eat with their family and blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is, the more we say your name, the more you get paid in some way or another. You're profiting from this. Yes. So you can't decide Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's all good. Take pictures of me, it's fine. That's just going to increase my endorsements and my paychecks. And then Saturday, I'm snatching the cell phone out your hand and throwing it at you. No, you have, even if I understand your privacy and your moment, but you have to have extra grace because you're benefiting from it.
You're benefiting from it. Like, and that's my whole point. You can't turn it on and off. Right. You know what I'm saying? That's just, this is a 24/7 media coverage world in some way, shape, or form. and you cannot turn it off because you absolutely are not going to turn down any of the dollars that come from it.
100%.